Before we get into this video, please bow your heads for me, please. Dear God, I pray that if Robert Brooks gave his life to you and recognized you as his Lord and Savior, that you bless his soul, God. I pray that he is with you. I pray that his loved ones find peace and understanding, God. And I also pray that these correctional officers will feel your wrath, that they will face your judgment, not only the court's judgment, but your judgment as well, God. Amen. It was very hard for me to sleep last night after watching that video, man. If you haven't seen the video, go ahead and watch it. I'm obviously not going to play it here on this channel due to copyright reasons and having my channel potentially taken down. But extremely disgusting, extremely inhumane. And you know, as a black man, I had to make this video. As a melanated man, black man, whatever you consider yourself, as a black man, I hope this had to hit home. This had to hit you. This had to be heavy on your heart, man. It really had to be, because this could happen to anybody. And this is why I'm making this video. It could happen to me. It could happen to you watching. It could happen to anybody. Because how many innocent melanated / black men do we have incarcerated right now in different parts of the country? There are innocent men on death row. There are innocent men that are fighting for their lives. There are innocent men that are in the library, in the prisons, that are trying to find ways to reverse their conviction. There are plenty of innocent men every day. All right. Now we're talking about New York. There is injustice everywhere in this country, in many different states. All right. So we can't just say New York in general, New York as a whole is the worst state. Everything goes bad, because it happens all over this country. America as a whole needs a lot of work, man. It needs a lot of work as far as police officers go, as far as correction officers go, as far as judges, as far as the whole judicial system. It needs serious work. But there have been too many cases that have came out of New York with police officers mishandling people and assaulting people, as well as correction officers. Can't think of his name right now, but I remember the kid who got arrested. He was in Rikers Island for stealing a backpack, and he ended up, you know, dealing with a lot of gang member type of violence. You know, he dealt with a lot of abuse, man. You know, a lot of physical assault he dealt with, not only from other inmates, but from correctional officers as well. You know, he did get out of prison. He ended up writing a book, and he ended up committing suicide, man. It's disgusting, man. It really is. You know, there's plenty of cases, plenty of other cases that have came out of New York. You know, this one came out of upstate New York. You know, there has been a lot of violence from police officers and correctional officers in New York City, but this is from upstate New York. Now, the worst part about this video, what I found the most gut-wrenching, was the fact that he was handcuffed. You know, this is probably going to be a long video. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but I'm going to take my time with this video, so please be patient with me. But, yeah, he was in handcuffs. They couldn't even give this man a fair fight. It still would have been wrong. I still would have been pissed off, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people would have been upset. You know, but I would have rather seen him uncuffed and at least, you know, being able to try to cover his face from some of the blows, you know, and at least throw a couple swings, try to fight back, you know. But the fact that they had this man handcuffed and the way they treated him, literally like a rag doll, it was just disgusting to see. And again, I really couldn't sleep last night. It was really hard for me to sleep. I had him on my mind, man. He was on my mind. It was on my heart. So yeah, man. And then where's the diversity in that prison? All I saw was white officers. I didn't see not one melanated black officer. I didn't see not one Hispanic officer. Even the male nurses. The male nurses there, I didn't see not one Hispanic or black nurse. Where's the diversity there, man? That is crazy. I guarantee if there was at least one black man there, he would have stopped it. He would have said something like, oh, what are we doing? What are we doing? So, you know, that's one big issue I have. I want to know, are there actually melanated / black correctional officers that are at that prison? Maybe they just weren't on shift, you know? And then also they brought this man to the infirmary. And when they brought him to the infirmary, he already looked beat up. It looked like they previously had beat him up and pulled him out of his cell and brought him there. And when you go to the infirmary, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where you get medical care, medical treatment. That's where they're supposed to evaluate your injuries and heal them, give you medication, stitch you up, whatever you're supposed to do. They took this man to the infirmary and they did even more damage than I know 100% they already did before they brought him there. The male nurse didn't step in and stop anything and try to, heal him or anything. The male nurse was pretty much laughing. He was smiling. He was smiling. And then you had all the bystanders that were smirking and smiling, just standing there doing nothing. Didn't stop anything. Didn't say, man, this is enough. Y'all going too far. He's handcuffed, man. I think he's had enough. I don't care if he was disobedient. I don't care if he used verbally disrespected you guys. Used swear words, this, said that. That dude looked less than 100 pounds soaking wet. If you look at the size of those other correctional officers, they look like they weigh twice the size of him. He was very small. Like, did they feel good about themselves? You feel like a big man beating on a man who looks like he weighs the size of a child? Literally, the size of a child. I don't know if this man has been starved for meals or he just wasn't eating. But the picture I saw with him, it looked like he had braids. There was a picture that I saw with him with maybe his son. And he definitely looked like he had more weight on him than what I saw in that video. So I don't know if they were starving him. I don't know if he just wasn't eating. But this man did not weigh much. And the way they handled him was just disgusting. They purposely turned off the audio so you couldn't hear what was going on. I guarantee there were a bunch of derogatory comments being made. A bunch of racial slurs being made. Calling him all types of N-words and monkeys and this and that. Even worse, these men, if not all of them, at least half of them are fathers, husbands, maybe even future already grandfathers. Supposed to be role models. So you mean it? And after the beat, man, I saw a couple dudes rinsing off their hands, probably rinsing the blood off of his hands. These dudes, half of them probably went home and kissed their wives, kissed their kids while their kids were sleeping in bed, kissed them on their foreheads. You know how they do in the movies. That happens in real life. When a white man comes home for his late shift, he goes into the bedroom where his kids are and checks on them, opens the door, gives them a kiss on their forehead, and goes to the bedroom in bed with his wife. These dudes actually went to sleep. They slept fine that night after that. No guilty conscience, nothing whatsoever. They didn't have any nightmares. They went and played with their kids, played with their grandchildren, loved on their wives the next day like nothing even happened. Because they don't see us as human. A lot of these white men, especially when they're police officers, when they're correctional officers, when they're judges, prosecutors, they don't see us as humans. They see us as animals. Shit, dogs. They value dogs more than they do us black men, than the black women, than us black people in general. I'm serious. The K9s. Think about it. If you ever see a police officer with his K9, the K9 is like his best friend. It's like an actual human partner, like an actual human male police officer. That's how they treat their dogs. They value those K9 dogs more than they value a human life of a black person. And then, because I've seen a few videos, man. I watched a few people talk about this. But one thing that nobody has mentioned that really, really, really was gut-wrenching, literally, no pun intended, was that officer that had his foot in his groin, man. Not only did he have his foot in his groin, I don't know if people notice, if you notice, he had his foot in his lower stomach, man. It's like he was trying to push this dude's intestines in or something. And what made me say that is after they removed clothes from him and they took his shirt off, if you look at his stomach was sunken in and it looked like his ribs were poking out. But it looked like he had no stomach. His stomach was literally sunken in. He looked like one of the not Ethiopian children, but he looked like one of the starved children that you would see in the commercials back in the day. One of the African children. That correctional officer literally had his foot. He literally braced his hands on the counter and literally was shoving his foot as hard as he could into that man's groin and into his stomach. Then they took off his shoe and they used his shoe to hit him in the stomach. And then the officer with his hat backwards punched him in the stomach. He definitely probably had broken ribs. Probably his intestines was all messed up. He definitely more than likely had a broken jaw, a broken nose. They picked him up by his neck and sat him back down by his neck. Put a sock in his mouth. Like, this video literally, I feel like literally set us back 150 years. It set us back to slavery times. It was very similar to a lynching. Defenseless black man, hands behind his back, can't do nothing to defend himself. You are punching him. You are choking him. You are putting your foot in his freaking groin, in his stomach. And then when they were done, it looked like they took him and they held him upside down and was doing something to him against the wall. Couldn't really see. But they picked him up and put him up against the wall. Who knows what they were doing? And then I don't know who the melanated lady was. I apologize. I should have did a little bit more research on her name when she came out and said we're doing a full investigation. What do you mean a full investigation? Why were these dudes fired and able to go home? They should be immediately arrested and charged with murder. They should be charged with murder, conspiracy to murder, and the ones that stood there around there should be charged with accessory. And I say conspiracy because they 100% conspired this. How could you say they not? It was all on camera. When they brought him to the infirmary, he was already beat up. So they conspired that, yeah, we're going to take him out the cell, and we're going to bring him to the infirmary, we're going to beat him up some more. That's conspiracy. He died the next day, they say, due to asphyxiation. They killed him. They killed that man. There should be no division when it comes to this, man. There should be no people that said, oh, well, yeah, it was wrong, but you shouldn't disrespect. No, there's no buts. Because, again, his hands were cuffed. His hands were behind his back. He could not defend himself. So I don't hear no buts. There's no justification. These dudes are exposed, man. But I feel like they've done this before. The way they did this and they were smirking, going about it, they've done this before. This is not the first time they have assaulted an inmate in this manner. I guarantee it, this is not. They feel like they were going to get away with this. This is why they did it. They should not be able to walk around town. They should not be able to go to the local grocery store, the local gas stations. They're to the gym, out and about. They should not be able to go out and about without being stoned, without being looking at with disgust. I've never been upstate New York. I've been in New York City a few times, and I will never go to New York again if I can help it, man. I will try to avoid it. Last time I was in New York City, I got a ticket as a passenger. Literally, the highway was right in front of me to go back home to Connecticut, and as soon as we about to go, a cop pulls from the side and pulls me over, gives us a ticket for me as a passenger for not wearing my seatbelt. I said, please, officer, please, we're not even from here. I promise. No, he refused. I'm pretty sure upstate New York is just a bunch of land, probably a lot of land. Probably really nothing out there. It probably looks like the South in a way. So I'm sure you have a lot of incest going on out there. A lot of incest. For sure, for sure. Just look at how those correction officers are built. Look at how they were built. All of them are pretty much out of shape, overweight, ugly. The average good-looking female would not give these dudes the time of day. Dudes that look like them hate themselves. They look like straight up punks. They look like when they were in middle school, they look like they used to dig boogers and eat them, scratch their butt and sniff their fingers and get bullied. That's what they look like. Seriously, I'm not even trying to be funny when I say that. Look at them. Look at their faces. Do they look like they can get in a box without paying for it? Without simping? No. Dudes that look like them hate themselves. That's why I brought it up their looks. Because they hate themselves. I love myself. I don't care in what type of position of power that I got in. And I don't care how bad of a day I'm having. I love myself too much to treat another person like they're inhumane. Because I won't want nobody to do that to me. What happened to treat people the way you want to be treated? You think any one of those correctional officers would want to be handled the way they handle him? No. Do you think either of those correctional officers would want their sons or their nephews to be handled the way they handle him? No. So why would they do it to somebody else? People have lost. Again, people have lost to do unto others as you want done unto yourself. People have lost that. But these men need to be held accountable. For real, for real. And when they get locked up, I don't want to see them in protective custody. I don't want them in the nicest federal jail prison where they're not in general pot, where nobody can get their hands to them. And I know God does not want us to wish evil on evil, or, you know what I'm saying, to fight evil with evil. I know God does not want that. But as I said at the beginning of this video, when I pray that God uses his wrath against them. Because when you think you may have gotten away with something, you really haven't, because God sees all. Oh, excuse me. And really, karma is just God's wrath. That's what karma really is at the end of the day. These dudes will pay. I'm telling you, they will pay for what they have done to this man and what they have done to others. There's videos out there of dudes who've been to upstate New York prison and said that they have dealt with different types of abuse, multiple forms of abuse. Multiple forms. There's a video up right now of a guy who was awarded money for what some of the officers in the past have done to the inmates. I'm talking about sodomizing. Yeah, I said it. Apparently there was a busload of officers that got dumped into a prison. They beat up inmates. They sodomized inmates. Destroyed their properties. And nothing happened to them. They got away with it. They got to go home. They got to clock out, go home, be with their families, and then return to work the next day. Like it's all in a day's work. Not for nothing, man. It takes a certain type of person to want to be a correctional officer. I get somebody has to do the job, but you really got to think about it. You really want a job where you telling people what to do, when they can go shower, when they could go eat? You really want that kind of a job? I feel like, not for nothing, I feel like, no, forget a feel. I know for a fact to be a correctional officer, you are not right in the head. I'm getting pissed off now. Now I'm going to bring up true facts, personal experience. My mom's ex-husband. My mom was I'm not going to say perfectly fine, but my mom had her head on her shoulders. Me and my mom had an extremely good relationship before my mom married her ex-husband, which is also my ex-stepfather. Me and my mom do not talk to this day. I gave her too many chances, but he was a correction officer. When my mom married him, he was emotionally, physically, mentally abusive to my mom. I'm telling you right now, correction officer's not right in the head. Another dude I used to work with at a warehouse job. He is now a correctional officer. I'm telling you right now, this dude was not right in the head. He's not right. He's the type of dude where you can hit him in the head with a brick and it's like it doesn't even faze him. Just a straight up crash dummy type of dude. Always in trouble. Want to fight people, bully. I work with him. Didn't see him in a while, ran into him in a Walmart. He said, oh yeah, I'm a correction officer now. Typical. There's a dude on YouTube, light-skinned cat. You could just tell he's missing a few wires. He's missing a few screws. You could just tell. I'm telling y'all right now, man. Dudes who are correction officers, they are not right. Even females. No normal person is gonna say, "Oh yeah, I want to be a correction officer. I want to be the overseer of inmates." I'm not saying we shouldn't have prisons. We shouldn't have jails. We need them, because if not, it will be a free-for-all. We will have murderers, rapists, thieves running around just doing whatever they want with no consequences. What I'm really saying is there needs to be a serious, and I mean serious, outside mental evaluation before you are allowed to become a correction officer. And it needs to be updates. Just like, and I'm going to get a little off topic slightly real quick. Just like how I feel like old people need to be retested for their license, people in general, maybe every 10, 15 years, or maybe every time your license gets renewed, you got to retake the test. That's how it should be with correction officers. Every 4 or 5 years, you got to retake a mental evaluation course. Test. You got to take a polygraph test. Are you a violent person? Do you enjoy hurting people? Every 4 to 5 years, ask these type of questions. And I guarantee you, we won't have correctional officers that are overstepping boundaries. I think we can maybe kind of ponder and say what happened to Jerry Epstein now. I think we can. Because he's gone. He's gone. He's RIP'd, but no one has been charged with his death, but he died in prison. Isn't that funny? So no inmate was charged with his death, and we now know correctional officers pretty much get away with murder. We now know. Yes, I know she's doing she said the black lady, we doing the investigation. What is there to investigate? Almost the whole world has seen the video. There's tons of videos out there. We've all seen it. Go ahead and lock them up. Start. Judges sign warrants for raids faster than they have dealt with this case. You get what I'm trying to say, right? If a police officer wants to go into your house and they don't have a warrant, they say no. They say either you could let us in or we could get a warrant, have a judge sign a warrant, we could go in. They could get that done faster. These dudes are still sitting at home with their feet kicked up. What type of bull crap is this? Listen, as a black man, do your best to try to stay out of prison, man. This is why I don't hang with people. There's been situations when I was younger, when I was a young teen, and I got pulled off of a city bus. They said, oh, somebody said that this place was just robbed and you fit the description. I've been in those situations. If I was never out at night with my 3 other friends going to a house party 11, 12 o'clock at night, that would have never happened to me. This is why if you're watching this and you young, and you're in your teens, or you're in your early 20s, be careful who you hang with. Sometimes it's good to just get you a girlfriend and just stay solo, man. Work your job, be with your girlfriend, stack your money, try to build a plan for the future. Just have one solid friend. And you tell your friend, listen, we hanging out, I'm driving. I'm not getting in the car with you. Or I'll drive separately, I'll meet you there. Stop putting yourself in situations where there's no way out. Where you just got to put your hands behind your back and put them in like you're praying. Like, that's what they tell you. Put your hands behind your back like you're praying. That's what the police officers tell you as they put those handcuffs on you. They're Freemasons. These police officers don't believe in God and Jesus Christ. That's why they tell you that crap. They take an oath. Do not get locked up. I lived in Florida for a year. I could have did some bull crap, because the money was starting. I could say, I'm going to start selling drugs. I'm going to start trapping. What if I got locked up in Florida? I had to do some hard time. I'm from up north. As soon as I open my mouth, oh, you're not from here. We're going to take advantage of you. We're going to beat you up every day. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. What if I got shipped to another prison? What if I got shipped to a prison in a small town where it's just mainly just white people and the population of black people is extremely small? That's what happened to this man. This man literally just got shipped from a different prison. I'm not sure what prison he got shipped from, but he just got shipped from the prison last night. And the next day he gets murdered by the correctional officers. It could happen to anybody. Again, there are plenty of black men that are locked up that are innocent, that could lose their life, and they shouldn't even have been there in the first place. It's disgusting. Stay out of trouble. My black men, stay out of trouble, man. Don't get locked up. Don't go to jail, man. You don't want your life to be in their hands. Your life is literally in the correction officer's hands. If they're having a bad day, if their wife didn't want to give them no head, give them no box, if they found out their wife cheated, if they found out their daughter snuck out last night and got a train ran on her, whatever it is, they're having a bad freaking day, they could take it out on you, and that could be your last day. Don't play with your life, man. I want to see these officers get life in prison without the possibility of parole. All of them. Plain and simple. That's what I want to see. Share this video, man. Share this video. Keep commenting on other videos talking about this story. Share it on Facebook, Twitter. Share it on all social media platforms so it gets out there. Give them no choice. Give them no choice, but they're going to have to give all these racist white men life in prison without parole. Make it no choice. Their wives are going to have to cry. Their kids are going to have to cry. Oh, I miss my daddy. Yes. Their families deserve to suffer. And it's going to be their fault. They put their families in that situation. Stay out of prison again. I can't say it enough, fellas. Stay out of prison. Stay out of trouble. Because these correctional officers, white, black, Hispanic, whatever they are, because people are going to try to make it about race. Oh, because they were all white and they were racist. Yeah, they probably were. But at the end of the day, let's talk about Tyree Nichols. All black police officers, straight up gang. They beat the crap out that man. Yeah, I don't think his hands were behind his back when they hit him. I think it was before. But regardless of the fact, it doesn't matter when it comes to race. They have that badge, they have that power, they have that control over you. They abuse it. Plain and simple. They're evil. They are evil people. They're demons. Straight like that.